And then they get mad at me. I'm like, no. Depression is real. I'll say to the camera, depression is real. Now, is it always real?
Jordan, man, I'm excited you're here, dude. Thank you so much for doing the show today, this afternoon, and having some beers with me. And yeah, man, this is probably, I was telling a friend of mine earlier today that this is the least amount of, like, how well I know somebody. This is the lowest amount of how well I know somebody that I can get having them on the show, as much of a stranger as they've ever been. So I'm very excited, dude. I'm very excited to learn a lot about you and hear what you have to share to people. So thanks for doing this, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, dude. Yeah, of course. You kidding?
Beer.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, man. I'm very, I'm grateful you're able to be here today. And, let's dive into it. So, that being said, kind of just to kick us off so people can kind of get a bit of a feel for you before we dive into the nitty-gritty of narcissism and serial killers and all that, is take me through kind of your transition period leaving high school to kind of where we are now, and then we can go through the full circle and pinpoint things.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're also assuming I finished high school.
Yes. Yeah, that's usually the assumption, but I've been wrong before.
Dropped out of high school. True story. Worked in the mining industry for about 6 years. So I'm originally from Timmins, moved here for a girl. And for working, it just so happened she was a sociology major.
Nice.
So that got me interested in sociology, and then I started writing some of her papers for her. And I'm like, wait a second, I'm not actually dumb. I could actually do this.
Yeah.
I found a back door in university, found out you can apply as a mature student after 21.
After 21?
Yeah. Huh. It used to be like later, but then they're like 21, you're now mature. So you don't need a high school diploma to apply to college or university.
You have to be 21.
You just got to be 21. It doesn't mean they'll necessarily accept you.
Sure.
You include a letter of like why your history was so crappy. Maybe your childhood was bad. Like what were the barriers that you encountered that prevented you from getting into it. So I did online distance university for a year, had like a 90 average, applied to Laurentian with a big sob story about my poor childhood, and then they're like, okay, we'll let you in on probation, and I was going to do it for maybe 3 years, become a cop, and I'm like, you know what, I don't want to be a cop, I'm going to just keep going with this, and then I did 10 years of university, got a PhD in medical sociology at Queen's University, and then I accidentally ended up in criminology, where I am now at Laurentian University teaching criminology.
Jeez, dude. Why all of a sudden were you like, hey, after you did your bachelor's or your undergrad, whatever it was at the time for you, why did you decide, hey, let's go do a PhD? Like, what was that like?
If I'm being honest,
it
was a big middle finger to everybody who ever doubted me.
Really?
It was out of spite.
I love it. I love it, yeah.
Because I'm like an undergrad, everyone's like, you're too dumb to go to university. When I got back to Timmins after my undergrad, I was run into some people I knew, and they said, hey, when did you get out? I go, what do you mean?
Get out of
when did you get out of prison?
No way, they all... Oh, come on.
They couldn't even believe I went to university. I'm like, I was in university, like, okay, like, give us a better lie, you know? Like, we know you were in prison. I'm like, okay. And then they're like, you're too dumb for university. There's no way. And so even after I got the undergrad degree, they still didn't believe I was capable. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's see how far I can go with this. And everyone thought I wanted to get a PhD because I wanted to be a professor or anything like that. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just know that, I enjoyed what I was learning. Yeah. So I wanted to stick with it. And two, I just wanted to be a big kind of like a middle finger, prove it to myself. Yeah. And I shouldn't have been proving anything to others, but I mean, spite is a great motivation.
Dude, it can be a great motivator, yeah.
Someone said the best revenge is success.
Dude, and it works.
Yeah.
It fucking works.
I don't have to say anything. Yeah. All the haters, I didn't have to tell them or mail them and send them a copy of my degree. They're following you on like social media.
They know.
They
Facebook,
Google your name.
Their moms are bringing you up at dinner. Like you're like,
oh yeah, did you hear what that Babando kid did?
Yeah, and you're like,
person?
PhD.
No, he's a professor. Oh,
like, damn. We didn't think you meet those expectations, but geez, dude. Yeah. So then, looking back at that time, did you? You said, what was your undergrad? You said again?
Sociology. Masters of sociology. Yeah. PhD in medical sociology.
Medical sociology. What makes it medical versus just sociology? Like, where's the specifics?
So people don't realize, like, when you do a PhD in sociology, they give you these testing called comprehensive exams, and they kind of say, like, what is your area of specialization in sociology specifically? So it's what you're studying. So I studied the practice of medicine. So I spent 8 months in a hospital, and I started focusing on the emotions that nurses and physicians and social workers in the hospital experience in their daily lives. Jeez. So I don't focus on, like, the body or the genetics.
Right.
I look at healthcare delivery. And when you're delivering healthcare and compassion and empathy, and you're this physician, nurse, and you have to give people bad news all the time and get bad news, how does that affect you?
Right.
And I found out it really messes them up.
It does, eh?
And, well, nurses don't cry in front of you. Physicians don't. They're not allowed to hug patients or be like, they can't, they have to be stoic.
Yeah, very.
But when they leave at the end of the day, like, I've had nurses and physicians say they go down to the lake and scream and cry. They cry in their car for an hour, and then they start getting addicted to substances, whether it's alcohol and drugs. Their relationships at home fall apart because they go home and now their husband, wife, partner, whoever it is, they're unable to understand what they're going through.
Right.
And then they normally ball it up, and then they fall apart. And so my job, in my mind, was I want to help. I had a lot of friends who are nurses and physicians, and they're just falling apart in their personal lives. And I go, I want to go into the hospital, and I want to kind of expose the truth of what's actually going on, because it's hidden. You go to the hospital, right? Do you look at the nurse or the physician or wonder how they're doing at the end of the day? Be like, how are you? Do you need a hug? You're kind of focused on whoever you're visiting.
Granted, personally, I try to read them a little bit, but still don't really check in on them, no.
No, because you figure, well, they're superhuman, right? We see them as superhuman. In a lot of ways, they are, but at the end of the day, they might be super, but they're still human. So they still feel, they still have empathy, still have compassion. Of course, unless they're narcissists or psychopaths. But we'll get into that.
We'll get into that shortly, for sure.
And so I gave a bunch of feedback to the hospital. It helps them kind of fine tune and tweak things and go, okay, well, what can we do to try and make things better? Because how do we look after the people who are looking after us?
Right.
If they're breaking on the inside, they're breaking at home, they can't go and just show up to work and be their 100% selves.
No.
They start becoming more and more kind of fake and start treating patients as a car. And it's not because they don't care. It becomes a defense mechanism. This is a scenario one surgeon gave me.
Right.
He said, I went in the hospital, I was operating on an 8-year-old boy. The 8-year-old boy died. I had to tell the family. They were breaking down, crying. He says, I went out to the back parking lot. I fucking sobbed. He goes, I'm bawling. And then I go, what happened then? Did you go home?
Yeah.
Did you get the day off? He goes, oh, no, because you have to keep working. He goes, an hour later, I was like washing up and scrubbing up and getting ready for another surgery now on a 10-year-old boy. Now, the parents don't know that this happened. No one's paying attention. He goes, where do you think my mind is at? Do you think I'm going in the operating room with extreme confidence? No, feeling really good? He goes, no, but I have to go in there with arrogance. I have to pretend like everything's okay. I'm reassuring this family, like, no, your kid's in good hands. But like, if I said an hour ago, I was just dealing with the loss of an 8-year-old on my operating table, they'd be like, would you want that surgeon working on you?
Whoa,
on your kid?
Dude, no, probably not.
No,
it's like you just failed 2 hours ago. Why would I want? Oh.
It's not that they did anything wrong. It was just the kid.
The circumstances.
Yeah, the kid was beyond saving, and he did everything the best he could. But I go, you need time, And then I think this is why it's important to even talk to your physician. How's your day going? When they say like good, go no. How's it actually going? Like are you winning
today? Are you taking a lot of losses? What's that look like?
Yeah, 3 people died this morning, but I'm good.
It's like nobody is. Why you? That's crazy.
So sociologists look at that in terms of medicine, where medical professionals look at bodies and healing and health and modalities and symptoms. They're not actually looking at themselves. And psychologists go, and they're important, don't get me wrong, but they're like, whatever's going on is, like, we want to look at your brains and chemicals and imbalances. But a lot of your emotions are impacted by your social environment.
Yeah, which is more recent than just your...
Yeah, maybe you're depressed because your wife beats you and your job sucks and your friends are shallow and they use you. And you go, don't get me wrong, antidepressants would probably be helpful.
Sure.
And maybe you are depressed.
Sure.
But if you don't address the underlying causes, you're still going to be stuck in that environment that's actually making you feel this way. And then the antidepressants can just mask that for the rest of your life.
Right.
So I'm like, both. You need to address the underlying root causes, which is what I would do as a sociologist.
For sure.
And then I also say, but you also need a psychologist and therapy and probably maybe some antidepressants, because it's not one fix.
If it's that bad,
cure.
I see. So you want to try to hit a couple different things, because every time, man, I hear about antidepressants from a handful of different people. Like, what was it? I think my mother was telling me years ago that when her father passed away, so my grandfather, when he passed away, she was on antidepressants for a bit. And not only did the doctors almost not want her to wean off, they almost she was telling me that she couldn't feel anything. It was when her mother died, so like decades ago. Anyways, doesn't matter. She was like basically telling me that she couldn't feel anything. Like no happiness, no joy, also no sadness, no grief. Like there was just a constant like lull. There was no up, there's no down. It was weird. Then the second thing with it, where I'm like curious, where I'm going with my question is about antidepressants is, I was doing a gun course with my friend, and he told me that his friend did the gun course 3 months earlier, right? But he got shut down by the RCMP because they said you can't. He had a history of being on antidepressants, and you can't be on antidepressants and also possess a firearm. So I was like, okay, that's crazy. So it's like there must be some aggressive level of side effects with those. That's why whenever I hear them mentioned in conversation, trying to help people become better, it often, I raise an eyebrow, right? Because I'm like, okay, well, but I like what you said, which is why I want to bring it point this out, man, is because you mentioned that it's like, well, I would lead with the underlying effects first, you know, instead of having to just hear the medication, let's move forward.
Yeah, like, and don't get me wrong. Like, I have a psychologist. She's wonderful. She looks at a holistic perspective, like treating my social life, my mind. Do I need chems? I've been diagnosed with depression 4 times in my life, and each time I said I am not taking antidepressants.
No way, each time.
Yeah, because I said I know what's bothering me, and then they're like, well, it could be helpful. I go, yes, but I want to develop some of my own inner resilience.
Amazing.
Different things for different people, different contexts. What I felt like I can deal with, I seen hope at the end of the tunnel. Like light, when you don't see that light at the end of the tunnel, you might need them because then they might actually help you see the light, and then you can work on it. But if you're seeing the light from a distance and you're never walking towards it, that becomes the problem. So I'm like, listen, I see the light. I know how to get to light. I have crappy friends. I'm drinking a lot. I'm in a bad relationship, and this is a true story. And I'm like, back in Timmins, working in the mine industry. I'm not happy. I don't feel fulfilled. So then I had a therapist who said, okay, well, why don't we make a plan? And this is going to be really hard. How brave are you? How strong are you? And I'm like, okay, I got this.
I'm strong.
And she goes, okay, you're going to get rid of all these bad friends. I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm going to abandon them. She goes, but it's for the best. So I did. Got rid of all of them. It was hard. It's like going through social media withdrawal when you delete all your apps. I'm like, I want to call Steve. I want to go.
Tell him wim why I'm doing this or whatever it might be.
You got to quit drinking. And your friends make you want to drink, right? Because they're all alcoholics. I'm like, yeah. You have to leave that job that you hate. And sure, you can't leave it tomorrow, but you have to make a plan to leave and make you feel better. Go to the gym. I started working out 7 days a week. I got really jacked. I did the distance education online. So I completely changed everything about me, and it was really hard. Well, it's like my therapist said, hard is easy and easy is hard. So if you do the hard things now, your life is easy later. If you do the easy things now, like drink, party, drug my life away, like, oh, I'm on... microdoses of shrooms because it makes me feel better every day. Are you going to do that your whole life?
Probably
That's not sustainable.
No.
Go to the psychedelic clinic in Toronto. Get a big hit. Get ego death. Have a therapist work with you, which they do, and then lead you. Like, because I'm never saying I'm against psychedelics. I go, if you read the literature, ego death better with a therapist and a plan, not microdose. I'm not
with intent, right? Like there's intention and direction towards what you're doing.
Put everything within. Make sure that there's always an end goal. If the goal is to numb, I mean that's how people end up as addicts in downtown Sudbury. They're numbing their homelessness, their trauma, their pain. And so it's not the addiction that you have to treat, it's the underlying causes. If you don't take care of the trauma or whatever it is they went through, it's really hard to escape addiction. So me, I'm like, I had to give it up cold turkey alcohol. I did for 3 years. And then the first time I go to have a drink, I'm like, I was happy. I was in university. I'm doing well. I'm healthy.
You're feeling good.
So I'm
more
like,
positive.
but I was still scared. I'm like, everyone's like, just have a glass of wine. I'm like, and then I sipped it and I realized, guess what? I didn't really want it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't feel that need to, I need 10 more. I need 2 bottles.
I see.
It went. So now I'm like, oh, I'm actually happy. So people are like, well, if you're an alcoholic, why are you drinking? And I'm like, well, I'm not polluting myself. So when I feel down, I go, I'm not going to the bar. That's an impulse.
It wasn't a negative thing.
No, It was drinking wasn't necessarily the issue. It was my self-medication, my coping to something bad, which was my life, my history. And then so once I dealt with that, I didn't need the coping anymore. But now I go through bad things, your brain goes back to that coping. And I remember my therapist, easy is hard. Hard is easy. I'm like, okay, I got to stay away. I need to, if I feel like I want to drink, I go, wake up, Jordan. What's going on?
Yeah, what are we doing?
Yeah, what's really going on? Something's bothering you. What is it? Do you see the light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah.
Or do you see the darkness in the left corner? Head to the light, Jordan. Head to the light. Unless you're a mosquito. Don't go for the light.
Yeah, unless you are. Yeah, it's not great. But take me through, man. That That's weird that your, what was it, psychologist or your doctor recommended antidepressants for 4 separate times.
Yeah.
Like, why do you think, or where do you think it came from when you're like that resilience or even ability, man, to just say, no, I'm not going to do that? Like, where did that stem from originally, you think?
My friends.
Yeah.
So I had friends who got antidepressants, and, well, it made them, some of them said the same thing, so that's not rare, where they said, I feel numb. I don't feel happy, I don't feel sad, I don't feel nothing.
So you went in knowing that that's what it could be, or probably will be.
Well, it could be. So I was actually afraid of going numb. Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to go numb. I don't want to feel bad, but I don't want to feel nothing either. That sounds scary.
That is the thing.
That sounds like I'm getting closer to the darkness.
Yeah.
And then some of them ended up sadly committing suicide, ended up in prison, ended up having a bit of a chip on the shoulder, like a victim complex.
That's
and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying everyone on antidepressants are these people.
Right.
I'm just saying these are based on my experiences.
That was your perception of it, for sure.
And so I felt I'm not gonna lie, I felt very negative towards any type of medication. And it's not the first time someone recommended medication to me for stuff. Like, I have Tourette's, and they're like, we can give you barbiturates. I'm like, I don't want that. You got ADHD, we'll give you some Adderall. I'm like, I don't want that either.
Yeah.
And I go, is there ways to actually manage my symptoms without drugs?
There must be.
Yes. I go, well, why aren't we exploring those first? I'll tell you what, if it doesn't work,
money.
Yeah, it is a pharmaceutical issue.
It is.
And it's not the fault of the physician or anything.
No.
I think they want to offer you, they're trained a certain way, and they offer you all these tools, and they legit want to help you. Yeah. And imagine they don't recommend antidepressants, and the next day you end your life.
Yeah.
They will feel responsible.
Oh, for sure.
Like, shit, I should have actually.
And other people might blame them. Yeah.
Yeah. So it puts them in a really hard position, because they have to do it the best they can to make sure that you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then if they stabilize you, then they should work towards helping you. But even the helping profession is overwhelmed. There's too many people with mental health. They're like, we have too many freaking people here. I don't have the time to treat everyone. If you come back in a month later, I've already forgotten why you were here the first time. They're like, I have some notes here. Something about your mother. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then so the personalization of care kind of falls apart, because you keep seeing them a month. You have to see someone often and consistently, so they don't forget who you are and what's going on, because otherwise they go, well, let's adjust your dose. And I'm like, but that's the other thing. Shop around for somebody who speaks to you. And I found the best psychologist I've had, because I've gone and seen some, and I'm like, no, this isn't for me. The ones that I go see are more holistic, open to all different possibilities, and they tell me what I don't want to hear.
That's a big thing.
Like, they're mean. Like, they're not mean, they sound mean.
Yeah. Like, if you took it personally, it could be mean.
It's like, Jordan, why are you doing that? You know better. How old are you now? You know better. And it's like, it's not like shaming. It's like, I get defensive, and I go,
it's your ego a bit.
You're right.
For sure.
Yeah. I go, oh, ego's coming out. Ego bad.
No.
Ego goes for easy.
Yeah, it does.
Not hard.
Very,
right?
very true.
So,
dude, that's crazy. Because I've definitely, it's funny you mention that too, because I've on how to decide the good and the bad for psychologists or therapists as well. Dude, I've had friends that they've shopped around, but they've shopped around until, or even people who go to I've had those friends that have gone to each different person they know for advice, just till they hear the thing that they want to hear. It's like they shop around for therapists or doctors until they get the diagnosis or prognosis that they want to hear. It's like, I think this is what's wrong with me, and I'm not going to stop. So I've seen 15 doctors, and none of them have told me. Maybe it's something I have that's rare. It's like, no, maybe you just have something they've all said. Why is it they're all saying the same thing, but you're the only one believing it's something else? Yeah. It's a weird,
Well, you can shop for mental health, and that's the scary thing. Because if you look at a DSM, it gives you the symptoms and what you have to give them. So, for depression, you have to have 5 out of 9 criteria. You just have to know what the 9 are.
Yeah.
So you go, I can't get out of bed. Life feels hopeless. I'm always sad. Things that used to interest me are no longer interesting. Then they go, oh, crap, you got depression. But here's the thing.
Yeah, because you checked off 5.
This upsets some people. Some people do make it up. And then they get mad at me. I'm like, no, depression is real. I'll say to the camera, depression is real. Now, is it always real?
Yeah.
No. So here's the thing. If you have cancer, they go, you have all the symptoms of cancer. You're telling someone what you feel. You want to have cancer, right? For whatever reason.
For sure.
And there are people who faked it. One of them was in Timmins, and she got $100,000 through different types of grants and fundraisers and community support. Yeah. And then they found out she lied.
Come on, dude.
Yeah. And so she's like, and there's fraudulent cases of people faking cancer. Now, why do they catch them faking cancer? Because eventually someone steps in and does blood work and all the tests, and they go,
you had
no, cancer.
You just told people and convinced enough people you did.
But if you have depression, how do you prove it? It's subjective. Do they take a blood sample? No. Do they take a brain scan? No. They just go, well, based on what you're telling me, it sounds like you have this. And if you give someone an antidepressant who doesn't actually have a problem with serotonin in their or an overactivated amygdala, you'll actually cause them to have a problem.
Which is crazy, no?
Yeah. Well, some people want that because then they go, well, my partner, and this is an extreme case.
Sure.
They'll be like, my partner abuses me because I'm hard to deal with because I have depression. They'll use the label as an excuse for someone else's poor behavior.
Yeah.
And then it gives them a way to actually protect whoever that toxic person is. Or,
right.
My job is actually great. I just don't like it because I have depression. Or maybe you're actually depressed because your partner's abusive, and maybe because your work sucks. It's not fulfilling you.
It's like a shield to protect you from what's actually the problem.
Again, it's coping. Yeah. Like alcohol, it's just a different type of drug, whether it's alcohol, marijuana. In fact, marijuana actually has higher rates of helping people for depression than antidepressants.
No kidding.
Or similar too.
Why do you think that is? Just based off what you've seen.
I think it slows things down. So if you have a hyperactive mind, you're spinning, you're spiraling, blah, blah, blah.
It's
people
easy
get
to get
high
anxious.
And they're like, ooh, I'm chill. I had some indica. It might give you time to actually calm down and reflect. That's why some people just use it for sleep. They do it before bed because it actually slows everything down.
They get the better sleep. It starts the rest of the day better.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're using it long term, all these things can have long term consequences.
Yeah.
And so there's a difference between using something for recreation, and then using something as a medication. Now I'm starting to sound like Gabor Mate. If you're familiar with his work, but it's like, you just gotta, and it's never to shame anybody. I never want someone to be like, well, I'm on antidepressants. Why was Jordan so strong? Like, whoa. Everyone's experience is different. Like, my version of trauma might not be even close to as bad as yours.
Yeah.
It's not to say that there's a hierarchy of trauma either, because that could be a problem. But I'm like, for some reason, what was happening to me, I felt for some reason, it was manageable, and I'm like, I'm going to try, and if it doesn't work, then I'll be open to other possibilities, like medication, sure. But I'm going to at least try without. And I've had some friends who went on medication, and it really, really helped them. And I've had some who've actually since weaned off and got better. Yeah. That was the weird thing.
That makes sense.
So I can share one quick story if you want.
Yeah, for sure, please.
Okay, so I had this friend. He's still a friend of mine.
Nice.
He was on these antidepressants, and he'd have like really, really great days. Mm-hmm. Like for a month. Killing it. Pumped. Wants to go to university. Goes to university. Gets a girlfriend. Everything's great. He's killing it. Next month, he disappears for a month. Drops out of school. Doesn't show up to his job. Yeah. Stops talking to his girlfriend. Girlfriend breaks up with him because she's like, well, it's been 2 weeks, I haven't spoken to him. And then he comes out of it and he's good again. And it's like a big roller coaster. And I said, well, what were you like before? And he says, well, I wasn't up and down. I was just sad, consistently sad. And I said, okay, well, which one's better? He goes, I know I'm not happy now. I said, okay, well, what if you talk to your psychiatrist, wean off, get back to baseline, and then see maybe if there's something else that you can do. And he did. His psychiatrist agreed, said, sure, let's see what happens. Weaned him off. He's got a girlfriend. He's been with her for a year. He hasn't left his job.
Good.
He's making plans to open his own business. Like, he's a bright guy. Like, very, like, driven when he wants to be.
Good.
And so I seen him, and I said, you look really good. I'm happy all this is going on. And I said, so how do you feel now on a day-to-day?
Yeah, what's going on?
He goes, every day I feel a bit sad. Like, there's this sad friend on my shoulder. Yeah. It was just kind of sad. And it was like that before. And I realized I used to try and run from that sad friend. He goes, but now that sad friend is okay. Because I get out of bed. I go to work. I can go see my girlfriend. I can have good times. Those highs he used to have, he goes, those highs are gone. Mm-hmm. But those huge highs I was getting is actually not even as close to the lows I was getting. He goes, so I could feel really high on life and have this girlfriend. But then when she leaves me, and I drop out of school, and I lose my job, it's just everything falls apart. I have to rebuild every 2 to 3 months. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I don't have to anymore. He says, so if the price to pay for my life is to have that lingering sadness, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so be it.
I'm like, well, that's pretty poetic in a way. Like,
yeah, that's good.
It's the first time I actually heard of something like that, but I was like, he was like, this little sadness on my shoulder. I wake up and I go, hello.
Hello, yeah.
Hello, sadness, my old friend.
Yeah, you can be a bit more positive about it, eh? When you're in that. Whoa.
But you don't know if something's not working. It's hard to be brave to try something different because you're afraid of what it's going to be like on the other side. Maybe you get off antidepressants, now suddenly you're super suicidal. That would be really difficult and scary. So I always say talk to your professional, but there's nothing wrong asking like, what are some alternatives? Is there anything else I can do? Can I wean off the meds and try something else? Maybe it's not antidepressants. Maybe I should be on an anti-anxiety medication or something else.
Right.
But you won't know until you get back to baseline. It's like, oh, we'll give you anti-anxiety meds with your antidepressants. I don't know. Like, I'm not a physician.
Yeah.
And a lot of this is based on, I read a lot on this stuff because I take an interest. I read the academic literature. It's all over the place. All I say is that find out what works for you, and if it's not working, talk with your professional experts, whoever, to say, what else?
Yeah, what else is there?
Like I recommended the psychedelic clinic to a friend who has antidepressant resistant like depression. And I said, why don't you ask him about the psychedelic clinic in Toronto? And he goes, well, I'll ask. But I don't think they'll go for it. They said, actually, you're a great candidate. Yeah, I'll recommend you. Let's see if we can do it. So they're working it out right now. And I'm excited to follow his story. And I really hope, not for me being right. It has nothing to do with that.
Sure.
I hope it works out for him.
Yeah.
Because he's been like really sad for like 5 years, and it's really impacted his job, his life, his kids, everything. And I go, I want him to be the best version of himself.
Of course, yeah.
And so,
and stuff.
If it doesn't work,
well,
there's something else.
Yeah, at least you'll know.
Yeah.
Huh. And it's fast forwarding to that 8 months doing your say your master's and stuff like that, and then moving forward to getting your PhD. What did you how did you get hired on at Laurentian? Like, what did that timeline look like? You've been there for a while?
No. So I did my undergrad, my master's at Laurentian, Queen's, PhD. I was teaching a course at Queen's, then at Trent. Then I worked at UBC for the Department of Social Work.
UBC, huh?
Yeah, University of British Columbia, social work. So I'm over there, so I'm like, and I wasn't even in social work, so now I'm working for social work. Then I get a job, University of Guelph in their social justice program, and then I'm teaching at Toronto Metropolitan University in sociology. Then I'm at York University.
Yeah,
then I'm at Carleton in criminology teaching statistics. Then I ended up at Laurentian. So Laurentian is university number 8 for me. So in 5 years from finishing my PhD, I've already taught at 8 universities.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm on my end of my second year on a 3-year contract at Laurentian. So unless they give me a permanent job, I'm going to be somewhere else. And you know what? That's okay. The dream is to keep chasing that light at the end of the tunnel, not giving up, not feeling.
Jeez, man.
Like I never blame myself. Like I'm not good enough for this job. I know I'm good enough for this job.
Yeah.
It's
just a matter of research during the summer.
Yeah. And it's just not my time. And you know what? If I keep working towards it, I strongly believe that my time will come. But at the end of the day, my PhD was the goal. I used to tell my dad, if I became homeless and I had a PhD, well, I'll be the smartest. Well, not to say there's not other homeless people with PhDs. I'd be like, I'd be a very intelligent, homeless person, and I'd have no regrets in life. None. I would never regret it. I'd be like, you know what? I got to this point as whatever homelessness.
Sure.
And it has nothing to do with me not trying and giving it everything I had.
I see you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, dude. Interesting. Which of the favorite of the 8 universities that you said you taught at was your favorite, or at least best experience teaching? Because it's subjective to you, so it doesn't reflect about the school.
Okay, well, it's hard, right? Because they all have ups and downs.
Because I've been to a few of them as like partying at that campus because of friends or family. Not so much studied at UBC or Carleton, but
like Queen's, I was familiar because I did my PhD there, so
right.
I know all the faculty and I knew the community and I liked the community.
Yeah.
Carleton, the faculty I was surrounded by were rock stars, and you'd hear them referred to like rock stars, like they'll have millions of dollars in grants, they're publishing books. They make me look little. And that's inspiring. Yeah. Because I'm like, these are the kind of people I want to be. Like, I look up to them.
Right.
I'm like, I want to be like them, so I want to be mentored by them. And then I get to Laurentian, and there's research going on, but it's a little bit more, it's a small university, right? They don't get as much funding. Professors are a little bit more laid back, but then they're really focused on their students. So it's like, I really love teaching. I love helping students, and students will like send me an email and say how I like help change their life, or direct them in a whole new career path and open their eyes to things they never thought of before. And it's not that like that was my intention, like necessarily that my intention was to switch their mind. It's just, I want people to be happy. And if I can help a student find out what will make them happy, and make sure they're in the right program, learning the right things, head towards a career that'll find them fulfilling, not what will make their parents happy, but will make them happy.
Big difference. Then
I'm happy. So like because I have small class size at Laurentian, I can actually have time to do one-on-one with students. At Carleton, classes of like 85 students. You don't have time to know all their names and help them. Yeah, so there's pros and cons to every school I was at. So it all depends. If I could wrap up the best of all those schools and put them in one university,
it's very political.
What would that university look like? I don't know, right?
I like it. Yeah, that's funny. You looking now at your at criminology. I'm curious. Anybody that maybe takes it as an undergrad or even graduates with a degree in it, what does the career landscape look like for somebody with that as something they've studied?
Okay. The majority of students at Laurentian who take criminology want to be police. Some want to be lawyers. At Carleton, I'd say 80% want to be lawyers.
Yeah.
The rest want to be cops. But they think criminology is all just police and lawyers. Yeah. Public Safety Canada is the largest federal division in Canada. They have RCMP, CSIS, border security. Like, they have all these things. You could work for any of those things. And there's a list of, like, I can't remember, like 120 different divisions. Whatever it is, it's a lot.
Yeah.
You want to be a policy analyst? Yeah. Well, where do you want to be a policy analyst? You want to be guns and gangs? You want to be in sex trafficking?
Oh, no
you want
kidding.
To be in, like, so there's different policy analysts depending on the topic.
Yeah.
If you're in CSIS, there's I can't remember again. There's like 20 plus or 30 plus different professions within that organization. You want to be border security. You want to be it's endless. It doesn't have to be in criminology. That's if you stay in that field. But criminology is born out of sociology. So you get the same skills in a lot of ways as sociologists. You're just hyper-focused on criminal justice. Yeah. So whatever jobs that sociologists can get, you can do the same. So maybe you want to go work for Statistics Canada. You want to work for National Defense. You want to work for... I have a friend who has a master's in sociology and / criminology, and he's working for Canada Revenue Agency. Weird. No background in accounting or anything, but he's managing teams. He doesn't have to know the accounting. He just has to know people. Yeah, sociologists know people. And if you get an undergrad in criminology, you can go do a master's in whatever the heck you want. You don't have to go in criminology masters. I had a friend who went to med school afterwards. I had another one who went into kinesiology. Yeah. Completely different.
Yeah, very.
Went from social science to a science. And then there's some that go from science into social science.
Right.
We have some people who go to law school and they go, I don't want to be a lawyer. And then they go do a master's of criminology. And I go, what are you going to do with that? Well, I don't know. Law's kind of like associated with that, but I don't want to be a lawyer.
Makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. And I go, what are you going to do after? They go, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know that I love to learn about crime and criminology and
laws.
It's
a big one. It's like, what do you prefer to learn about versus what do you want to do? It's like more often than not, those two gets conflicted.
At college, you have a specific trajectory. You go to college for a plumber, you're going to be a plumber. You're electrician. When you get a social science degree, it opens up a lot of doors, and people don't actually look at what doors they open.
Right, it's a bit more vague.
They go, well, cop, lawyer, because that's what they heard of. I said, what about CSIS? What's that? You know what CSIS is?
It's like, hold on a second.
Yeah, so I'm like, and then they look into it and they go, wow, I want to work for CSIS. I'm like, okay.
We're getting somewhere.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I tell students what I told myself. If you follow your passion and you love what you learn, that's more important than the career, because the career might not be there when you get there.
Right.
It might disappear. It might be jobs are full.
Yeah.
They're hiring like crazy right now. Yeah, now. Yeah, when you're done in 4 years. And then what? Then you regret your degree? Like, no. So I say, do what you love and the career will reveal itself.
Right.
And that's what I did. I had no idea what I was going to do at the end of the 10 years. Everyone's like, you want to be a professor? I said, I don't know. No idea. Yeah. I was a director of research. I was a research associate doing research in the Arctic.
Yeah.
I tried different jobs. But the professor one was the one I loved because I love teaching and I love research.
Right.
And I get to do both. And it's great. It changes it up. Okay, I'm teaching. Okay, I'm writing, articles, and I'm trying to get book deals, and it's fun. Like, some people go, that sounds boring. I'm like, to you.
Yeah, to you.
But me, oh man, it gets me up in the morning. I'm like, I get up and pumped. I'm like, let's
that's your bread and butter, baby.
I'm teaching serial killer course today.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Random question, have you met any serial killers? Yeah? Or talk to me about meeting them. Because I'd imagine the answer is yes.
No.
No?
Do you know how hard it is? So it's not for a lack of trying.
Right. Oh, I'd imagine you'd, yeah.
It's like, well, I probably talked to some future serial killers in passing. I don't know. You never know. There's that one guy where I'm like, I'm going to see him in the paper one day. No. So I wanted to talk to, Bernardo.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to talk to Elizabeth Wetlaufer, who's like the serial killer nurse from Woodstock, Ontario. And she's in a psychiatric institute because she actually is like has schizophrenia.
Sure.
And then Paul Bernardo is now in medium security in Quebec.
Oh, so
and
probably
I'm trying to get access to them. It's really hard because they still have rights and they can deny you.
That's right.
And then Wetlaufer's difficult because she's actually in a psychiatric institution, not a prison. So it's like, can I go talk to someone that's in a psychiatric ward? Now I can probably talk to their therapists. But I want to talk to them. Yeah. So you see the movies where they're like talking to serial killers. It's the FBI.
So, yeah, it's like what they do to get.
But they were the FBI.
Yeah.
And they had pull, and that was like in the the 70s, 80s. Now.
Good luck.
Trust me, people want to talk to serial murderers who are interested in it. It is so freaking hard to actually get access. There's all this paperwork, all these different things, and they might not. And also, a lot of them are psychopaths. Like 90% of serial killers are psychopaths. So, what is the odds they're truthful to you? They love lying. You ask them a story 3 times on 3 different days about how they killed someone, and it could change. Yeah. So what you do is you have to ask them 30 times, and then you see
whatever one pops up most.
Coming, yeah. And you go, okay, this is probably closer to the reality.
Yeah.
So I have to read about them from a distance, and it's not even that I'm necessarily interested in serial murder per se.
Sure.
I started teaching the course because students are interested in it, but I have a vast interest in psychopaths and narcissists. Yeah.
Define psychopath.
A psychopath? Psychopath is goal oriented. People don't realize they have goals. That's why they're not all murderers. So let's say you're okay.
Yeah.
I can talk about the behaviors or how they develop. So
sure.
Why don't I start at the beginning?
Both? Yeah.
You're born. You have no limbic system. So like the parts of your brain that have empathy and compassion are gone. Fear gone. Imagine you have no fear. You have no empathy.
Yeah.
Like that in a way is like a scary superpower.
Yeah.
Because maybe you stop doing something,
you
right? It's freeing to them. They go, I could do whatever and I don't have to feel guilt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to feel remorse. So you can walk on anyone to get to where you want to be. Now
not feel anything about it.
So you're born a psychopath.
Yeah.
But socialization determines how you enact your psychopathy. So let's say you have a dad. Let's say you're a psychopath. You have a dad. And the dad's like, the key to life and success is money and be a CEO and make lots of money and get a lot of women and cars and wealth. And they keep putting that in your head because they're goal oriented. That ingrains in their head. And then so when they grow up, they don't go, I want to be a serial killer. Their goal comes first. So let's say they hate you. They go, oh, I really want to kill that Jordan. He's talking about depression in a bad way. I'm going to kill him. They go, but that's not my goal. My goal is to become a CEO. So if I kill him, I'm going to jail. I'll never be a CEO. I'm like, So they go, he's not a part of my goal. So I'm going to think that. I'm going to want to kill him, but I won't. I'm going to keep moving this way. Now let's say your dad beats the crap out of you all the time. Mm-hmm. He's beating your siblings, your mother, whatever.
Sure.
Or he abandons you, and then your mom's abusive. Like, if you come from an abusive household, imagine you're born without empathy. You're born a psychopath, and now you're beating the crap out of them and mistreating them and neglecting them and telling them, like, that's how you learn life is. Mm-hmm. Life is violent. Life is aggressive. That person's going to grow up and kill people. A lot of serial killers with psychopathy hate their mom. Like the males do. They're like, mommy issues. Not always. But a lot of times
more
it's
often
mommy
than not,
issues.
yeah.
So it depends on your upbringing, and they think they're the best. They believe it.
Sure.
I'm the best. I'm entitled. I deserve all the best things.
Yeah.
They're almost like suicide resilient. Like they
what?
Because they don't have guilt or remorse.
Right.
So I feel guilty. I'm gonna kill myself.
So they don't feel that bad enough to put themselves through
You put them
suicide.
in solitary.
Yeah.
You put them in solitary confinement for a month. You bring them out. Oh, hi, Steve. Like they're all bubbly. Anyone else? break down. It's a form of torture.
Psychopath, yeah.
But psychopaths come on, they're fine. Now a narcissist.
Yeah.
The difference is they act the same. They also have issues with empathy. The parts of the brain, when they brain scan them, they're both cold in the empathetic region, so the limbic system. And then the difference is that, well, they say, I'm the best. It's all ego. They don't actually believe they're the best.
Whoa.
They're super insecure.
The narcissist.
Yeah. They're insecure, so they act like they're the best. They act like they're gold-driven. They act entitled, but it's all to suppress their ego. So psychopaths are driven. Narcissists are lazy. Psychopaths tend to become serial killers because they're methodical, a lot of them. They kill. They get better at it.
That's what it takes to get to the goal.
It might be planning. Narcissist is impulsive. You said something bad to me, like you're my partner.
Sure.
Stab. Oh, crap. How do I hide this? Then they might pull the victim. He attacked me or whatever. Like they start manipulating. The cops come. They do the investigation.
I've heard the manipulation a lot, yeah.
Yeah, they're very, well, both. Okay, so a narcissist will manipulate you to get, like, attention, to skirt accountability. So they'll hurt you because let's say they want attention. You got a girlfriend.
To skirt accountability.
Or boyfriend. But like, let's just say you have a girlfriend.
Sure.
And she's like very loving and caring and acts that way.
Sure.
It's all an act. She doesn't actually love you. She loves herself. She wants praise from you. She wants you to like her.
So she does, but
then it starts wearing off, and your attention that she's getting isn't enough. So she's going to go seek it outwards. They want external validation. Psychopaths don't need external validation. They're happy with themselves.
Yeah.
Narcissists aren't. So they go, I need attention from men, women, couples, whoever. And
Whoever's
they'll get
give
it.
me attention, whether it's positive or negative.
And the higher status they have, the more likely they're going to go to it. So if she sees someone is above you, she's definitely going for it. And this isn't a gender thing. Men do this too.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is just an analogy. So she's going, and then she gets home and lies, like manipulates, like, oh, I'm going out with Steve, but Steve's a colleague from work. Nothing's going on. You find out she was with Bob. Bob's not a colleague from work. His name isn't Steve. He's from out of town. He's some rich guy.
He's giving all this attention.
Slept with him. And then you find evidence. Deny. Yeah. Well, nothing really happened. No, I have evidence that you're with him. Yeah, I was in the hotel room, but we just sat and talked. Like, gaslight the shit out of you.
Like Elliot did.
Like, yeah. You sat in the hotel for an hour.
Nobody sits in a hotel.
And if they have to lie, it's because they're hiding something bigger. Sure, yeah. So what are the odds they're going to tell you the truth, right? So they and then they go,
zero,
well, it's your fault. You weren't giving me any attention. You're a bad lover. You don't listen to me.
It's not on them. It's on you.
Yeah. So then they deflect. They project. They go, you're cheating. I heard you're cheating. What about that time you're with that other girl? And you're like, what girl? Like they can't even focus on what you're bringing up. It's like they call it word salad.
Word salad.
Yeah. And then they focus on your reaction to their abuse. So, like, let's say you get mad. You're mad.
Man.
You cheated on me. You're angry. You're yelling.
Stop yelling.
You're yelling. Oh, you're abusive.
They play victim.
Oh, yeah. You need therapy. What? Here's the biggest way you can tell who the narcissist is in the relationship.
Yeah.
The victim is worried they're a narcissist. They're worried that they are. They feel crazy. They get therapy. After the breakup, they don't go chasing random people. They stay single. They don't jump into a relationship a week later. The narcissist goes on like nothing happened. They play the victim. They don't go to therapy, and they don't ever question that they're the narcissist. They go, oh, my boyfriend was mean. I cheated on because he cheated on me. Like all these lies, and so...
I think I can literally think of like 3 different examples of couples right now in my head. That this is exactly the situation where they both left, and one of the two was like, I'm going to go to therapy, I'm going to try. And the other was like, he was an asshole. I'll get back on the horse.
Well, and so just to be careful too, everyone would like to think that their ex is a narcissist. They can be narcissistic.
Right.
It doesn't mean they're a full-blown narcissist. They can be emotionally immature. They can have self-esteem issues, right? Now, to get a diagnosis, it's very complex. They have to look at your history, your family, your friends. They interview or send a survey to your ex-partners.
Right.
Because they have to establish a pattern. Yeah. It's patterned. Pattern
right,
line,
it's
pattern
behavioral pattern.
It's like it never ends. Every relationship is the same. Your parents start going, well, why does your relationships keep ending? And why are you always the victim? Why do you have no friends?
Yeah,
that's the other thing. Psychopaths have a lot of friends.
Right.
Narcissists don't. They can't hold down friendships.
Yeah.
You want to know who you're dating? Look at their friends. And even if they're not narcissists, look at their friends. If they say, like, I'm loving, kind, I don't do drugs, but then they're hanging out with shallow, insecure, evil addicts, you're like,
I don't believe you. Yeah.
This is psychology 101. You're a reflection of the 5 closest people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
You're not dating a person, you're dating their trauma. If they're not dealing with it, they're hurting other people, and it has nothing to do with you.
Right.
If you're dating narcissists, they make it feel like it's your fault. It's brain fuckery.
Bro.
It is not your fault. That's all I have to say. It's not. It's more about them. They're hurting you not because you did anything wrong or because they're necessarily vindictive and out to get you.
Mm-hmm.
They're hurting you because they aren't happy with themselves, and their guilt hurts their ego, and they will defend their ego before ever defending the relationship or you.
Mm-hmm.
So I say the best indication is they don't show up as narcissists. They show up as their best selves. They mirror you. I love that music too. I love the way you dress. I've never cheated on anyone. Then you find in the future they cheat on all their boyfriends or girlfriends. And then they start saying like, even though they said, I love the way you dress, a month later, I don't like what you're wearing. I don't like that you're wearing this. It bothers me that you wear those shoes. They start nitpicking. And then you get upset and they go, I was just kidding. I don't care how you dress. I was just joking. Can't you take a joke? You're so sensitive.
Yeah, and so your reaction is what's upsetting.
They're fucking setting you off on purpose. And they're doing this on a subconscious level. It's not like they're cunning and they're like, oh, I'm so smart.
Yeah, they're not thinking about it intentionally.
They're getting so good at doing it just on a subconscious level that they just keep doing and doing better.
Which messed up.
Yeah, so like the sad thing is people go, well, how come I keep attracting narcissists? It's everything that's right with you. They like someone who's kind, compassionate, empathetic, because you're going to put up with their crap. If you have status, they love that too, because then they go, oh, look, I'm dating this physician. He's a physician. Makes them feel good. But here's the thing. The honeymoon stage leaves, and then they need more.
Eventually it ends, yeah.
You get a baby.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, look at my baby, my baby. Everyone's like, yeah, the baby's cute. 8 months later, look at my baby. All your friends are tired, like, yes, we don't care about your baby anymore.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, they feel sad because they're like, no one cares anymore. So, but they'll move on. They're emotionally mature. They go, you're right. Like, I love my kid, but like, it's my kid.
Yeah, they can understand because they put themselves in their shoes.
They'll still try. They'll go,
sure.
Maybe I should go a little bit easy on the new kid.
Yeah, Jimmy was good in soccer, yeah.
But a narcissist parent will get another kid. And another kid. Because they need the attention. They need the excuse. Well, I don't have a job. I have 3 kids.
Oh, your new kid looks cute. Yeah.
Or the father can do that kind of stuff too, right? Like, keep getting women pregnant to try and lock them in. And then use them to manipulate them. And because I always going to keep saying, it's not one-sided.
Yeah, it does.
Like, there's men and women, and they do this stuff. And then so, eventually it wears off. They go, oh, look at my physician boyfriend. Right. They're like, we already know. It's been 6 months. Like, we don't care anymore. And then they go, oh, I'm not important. So then what do? Create drama, get attention from a different physician. And then, but they don't want to lose you because they still want what you do for them. You're there for them when they need them. You help inflate their ego. You cook, you clean. Next thing you know is you become their slave. And it's not like they're doing it necessarily knowingly. And psychopaths, on the other hand, you're with them because you fulfill a goal to them. Jeez, it could be image, right? Yeah. Politicians.
Whoa.
Politicians get married.
Yeah.
They're always in the photo, like prime ministers and the presidents. Like, look at my wife, my wife, my wife.
Yeah.
It's like they're no longer president or prime minister, and their wives leave them. But the whole time you look like, whoa, Justin Trudeau and his wife were so happy. And then things start getting sketchy. He looks like he's going to lose his control. And she's like, I'm out.
And he does. And all of a sudden it's like,
And you got to wonder what that life might have been like. I'm not saying Justin Trudeau is a psychopath. I'm just saying, like, you don't know what's going on in a relationship, but a psychopath will hold on to you. You're an object to them. A car. Well, my husband loves me because if anyone hurts me, he goes and hurts them. I go, well, let's put it this way. If I own a car, from a psychopath's perspective, it's my car. I could beat the shit out of it. I can key it. I can drive it off a cliff. But heaven forbid you scratch my car because it's my car. It's ownership. It's not love. It's possession.
Whoa. Yeah. Dude, come on. Can you think of an example of like a narcissist or a psychopath that you... Maybe we can say no, or like maybe an example of somebody that you know that could have been fit the bill of one or the other.
I know someone who's diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder.
Oh no! How'd that go? You don't have to disclose who they are, obviously, but just like, what does that look like?
Very outgoing at first, love bombing in the beginning. I love you. Let's, like, talking about the future, talk about things that mirror you, Like, I have the same interests in you, and it could be friends, it could be your partner.
Sure.
But normally it's like partner.
Yeah, usually.
and then the mask falls off. And this makes them more insecure. You start catching them in lies. You start using logic. They start gaslighting you. Gaslighting is like the number one red flag. Even if they're not a narcissist, get the hell out of there. If somebody does something to hurt you, and they knew it hurt you, and then their answer when they hurt you is, well, I didn't tell you because I knew it would hurt you. Or I knew you'd leave me. Okay, so you knew what you're doing was wrong. You knew it would hurt me, but you chose ego. That's what they're choosing.
Yeah, your ego.
I'm choosing ego and external validation over my partnership, over our trust, over your love, because I know you would never do that to me, but I'm entitled. And then they lie. And then you give them evidence, and this person would lie. And they'd say, you need help. Your past trauma is really clouding your judgment.
They make it about you.
Yeah, and then you start feeling crazy.
It's your fault.
So you get depressed. You get sad. And then you got to snap out of it and go, okay, let's say they say you're a bad communicator. You think to your past relationships. I've never had a communication issue.
Yeah, we've never. Yeah.
I was always a stoic person. I was calm. I was compassionate. I was caring. Why am I now angry? Why am I insecure?
It's the opposite feeling.
I was always secure in my relationships. Now I'm insecure.
Why?
What's going on? And then they go, oh, you're insecure. They make you insecure. If I keep smacking you over the face and then you raise a hand and you're like, and you like, you cover your face. But then they go, what are you doing? I was just lifting my hand to wave hi.
Yeah, but every other time you lift your hand, you've hit me.
Yeah. It's conditioning. Whoa. It's conditioned. So they conditioned you to actually be insecure. They set you off your rocker because the more you're worried about yourself, the less you're worried about them. You're like, oh crap. So then when you think they're lying and cheating again, you just go, maybe I am insecure. Maybe I'm making this up. Maybe it's all in my head. Like, it's called crazy making. So they're really good at it. Yeah. And the best thing you could do is, they describe it, a book I was reading, describes this, if you put a frog in a boiling pot of water, they jump out. If you put them in cold water and turn up the heat, they'll sit there till they die.
Come on.
It's a slow boil. It's a true story. So it's a slow boil. So they won't notice. So, like, because they're doing these microaggressions, they're little things. But when you write them down, after a month, you'll notice there's a lot of small things. And then this is the testing ground. They start off with small things. Then they do bigger things.
That makes sense.
You'll always catch them in the end, but in the end, they want to break you to the point where you stay because you think you're the problem. And I know people who stay with very narcissistic people. They might not be full-blown narcissists, but they might be narcissistic people.
Yeah, or have those tendencies for sure.
But yeah, so, and then this person who was diagnosed was in denial. They told me, I was diagnosed by a psychiatrist. And I said, do you know how scary that is? Because one, psychiatrists don't throw that diagnosis around.
No.
They don't. They don't just say, you're a narcissist personality disorder.
Yeah, it takes a bit.
Because also you're a write-off. You can't treat, some people say, well, you can't cure them. You can only make some of their negative behaviors less negative.
I see. Yeah.
Like, do you want to be with someone like that? Someone who can never truly love you? It's not I can love you more. It's I can maybe hurt you a little bit less.
It's ridiculous.
That's a bad idea.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and psychopaths, they're not treatable either.
No.
Except for goal treatment. They don't work on punishment. They only work on rewards.
I see.
You have to convince them that maybe killing Steve isn't, or in Bob, serial killing, this is an extreme example, but maybe this isn't ideal. Maybe instead it's better to have a lot of money and be a CEO. Well, why? And then you explain it to them. If you can convince them that goal is better, they can shift their behavior, but they're still going to be a psychopath.
Yeah.
Narcissist, you can't really do much. They'll be like dialectical behavior therapy. Doesn't really work.
Can't really fix it.
A therapist will normally tell you, run. And do it safely. Yeah. Safely. They said you can get killed.
Legit, yeah.
Leaving a narcissist, it's best to let them think that they're in control of the breakup.
Oh, for sure.
Because they go through what's called narcissistic harm. And then it hurts their ego so much that they'll react and get violent and they can hurt you. I've actually had the cops called on my ex before and have her escorted out of the building.
Come on, dude.
Because I was breaking up with her because I caught her cheating.
How'd she react?
Oh, violently to the cops.
Yeah.
Everything, yeah.
Everybody.
I locked myself in the bathroom. It was scary. I'd never told anyone this before.
No
so
way.
Here it is on a podcast.
I have a habit, dude. The podcast, this table, your spot specifically has a habit of bringing things out of people that they're like, oh wait, I actually just said that. Can't believe I've never told anybody.
I want to tell people like, you're not alone.
For sure, it's a teachable moment for sure, man.
And whether or not these people are narcissists, that's not a reason. these are bad behavior and they're narcissistic. And we all have a bit of narcissism. There's healthy narcissism and there's unhealthy.
You need a little bit.
Yeah, there's a spectrum. But when you're on the far end, now you got narcissistic personality disorder. And the sad thing is, when they do brain scans of narcissists and psychopaths, what they have in common is, if they ask them to think about someone they love, let's say you.
Sure.
You're asking your partner. Mm-hmm. Do you love them? Think about that love. And when they're brain scanning them at this time, the part of the brain that has compassion and empathy, that's turned off. Instead, it's the prefrontal cortex. Do you know what that also does? Lying.
Oh, yeah.
They're trying to think about what they should say. Oh, yeah, like, tell us what you love about him. Like, you could have both working. They're working together. They're disconnected. It's just all thought. And they're going, how do I feel? Because they don't feel anything. They go, what would they expect me to say? Whoa. Oh, he's kind. He dresses well. Like, well, no, but how does he make you feel? Good. Like, it's weird. Yeah. And they have look at the eyes. They have this coldness, and it's in the literature. They have this coldness where you look at them, especially when they're lying, and they look at you. They might be smiling, and their face might frown like they're sad, but the eyes never lie. Their eyes don't show emotion. They look emotionless. So if you actually block their mouth...
Dude, it's funny you mentioned that, man. What was it? It was the show How I Met Your Mother, where they talk about, I don't know if you've seen it, but they talk about the captain, and they talk about how, like, we don't know why the captain's scary, but he's not scary, and they're like... They cover the bottom half of his face and his eyes scare, but they cover the top, and it's a smile. Every time I do that and I watch a movie, I cover the bottom half or the top half, and if I just see their eyes, I can usually tell. I'm like, if I go like this, I'm like, oh, it's kind eyes. Or I'm like...
Because they're acting in movies.
Yeah, it's
so someone
crazy.
Will do method
you
acting.
could see it, though.
And they'll invoke real emotions, so sometimes it's hard to tell. But a lot of actors in film, they'll be being sad, but if you look at the eyes, it gives it away. Now, they're acting as a career, but imagine this person is acting for real. Their whole life is an act. Yeah. And some people hold on because they remember the person that they met in the beginning. Right. They go, I want that loving, kind. They created a persona that you put in your head, and it's all your imagination. Sure. So when they start showing who they really are, again, the other thing that you'll learn, they go, well, how do I escape the psychopath or the narcissist? Make sure that you pay attention to their behavior, not their words. I promise I won't do this. Then they do it. I never cheated. Then you find out they always cheated. I would never lie to you. They lie to you all the time. So I'm going to get help. That's a big one they say. I'm going to get help, I swear. Then they drag their feet and they never get help. And no matter how many times, and then if you get mad, they'll do just enough to make it look like they are. Well, look, see, I emailed a clinic and they haven't got back to me.
I mean, you misspelled their email address. Like, intentionally.
Yeah, or you, like, heaven forbid, now you're going through their email and you find 3 responses from them.
Oy.
And then you ask them and go, hey, so did they get back to you? No, they never did. And then you have to tell them, like, sadly, actually, I went through your email. And I seen that they met. And then guess what happens?
You're the asshole.
Now you're the asshole because they go, why were you going through my email? You didn't trust me.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I go, but why did you lie? They don't want to talk about that.
No, of course not. It's not about that.
Well, I didn't notice.
It's about why you didn't trust them.
I didn't notice the 8 emails from them.
Bro.
You'd notice if you were actually cared and you actually wanted therapy.
Yeah, but you don't. You're just putting on the mask.
Yeah, and it should be easy to get therapy. I'm in therapy. I've been in therapy my whole life. It's useful. It's illuminated. It makes you a better person. It's not going to hurt you. That's the weird thing. Therapy isn't meant to harm you. The only thing it can harm is your ego. So if your ego is most important, you will not get therapy. And you can't you definitely can't lead a narcissist to therapy, and you can't lead anybody to therapy. Even if they're narcissistic or they're emotionally mature, they have to decide one day, like I did, my life sucks. Because guess what else happened while I was drinking? And I was making bad decisions, and I was hanging out with bad people. I was a bad person. Because people, I'm not a bad person. Well, no, your actions, if your actions hurt people, that makes you a bad person.
For sure.
Inherently... Yeah. Are you a bad person? No, maybe you are caring, but you don't know how. You're hurting, you're traumatized. You need to... But
your behavior is...
You need to first realize that it doesn't matter if you're a bad person or not.
Right.
If you're doing bad things and you don't want to be that person, you have to allow your ego to say, I've done bad things, and then have enough compassion for yourself to say, well, why? Like, I have a reason. It's not an excuse, but you go like, I had these things happen, and they're really traumatic. So it makes sense, but it's not an excuse, so I need to get to work on myself. I can have compassion for myself, but it doesn't make it okay. I had to call people up that I haven't spoken to in years and say, hey, it's Jordan. Back in like back in the day, I was 19, like I did this and I feel bad. And sometimes they're like, you know what, that means a lot. Or someone goes, I don't even remember that. And they're like, but thanks for telling me. Like, like you dick. Soul.
Yeah.
Like, I know now. Yeah. Like, but they're like, well, no, it's all good. And you'll find that people have compassion. Like, you're worried, you're scared that when you apologize and come clean, they're going to be like, you ruined my life, I hate you. They're like, no, man, like, I'm very happy you called. And sometimes people just want that validation that you hurt them. And they go, well, thanks. Like, that means a lot. And next thing you know, I'm talking to some of them. They're my friends now. And it's like, and I don't even deserve their friendship, but like they're so compassionate and caring that they're like, hey man, like, you know what? I see you that you've changed your entire life. Yeah. And so now I always want to help people. I want them to see the best in themselves. And if you want to know if you're a good person or not, does anyone love you? Like, did you notice that people stick it out with you and they never leave? Like, have you had a best friend since childhood? Or are you always going through people like underwear?
How long of like a childhood do we...
Well, I mean, like,
what does that
it
mean?
can't even be high
like
school.
At least 5 years, 10 years.
If you so if you could hold a good friend for like, I don't know, like there's not a set time. Let's say 5 years, 8 years, 10 years. That's a good sign. The longer you hold a friend, unless they're also toxic. Yeah. Because then you feed into each other. Like, well, I have this friend. We're both cheaters and narcissists. Because that's the other problem. Yeah. Narcissists surround themselves. So psychopaths surround themselves with amazing people. Narcissists wish they could, but instead, to make themselves feel better, guess what they do? They surround themselves with people who are weaker, less driven, do more drugs.
Yeah, in their mind.
Because then they go, when I go out, I feel like I'm the top of the group. I'm the better looking one. I do more than them. I'm more talented than them. You want to look good? Surround yourself with people less than you. But if you want to be good, you want to be better, surround yourself with people better than you.
Damn right.
And when you look at, look at who they surround themselves with. And when they say they have a best friend who's really awesome and you meet somebody and they're really great and then they never see them, you're like, well, this is your best friend. Wow. According to you. Yeah. But they don't want to be around you. They don't want to hang out with you. They don't want to. Yeah, I'd be like, something tells me they're pulling away from you. And if they're pulling away from you, why? Yeah. Yeah, and I've encountered that same scenario from people I know. And then they get mad. And I go, why? Well, they don't want to talk to me. Why? Well, they're making better life decisions. Okay, what? That means that they're getting rid of you because you're not a good life decision. So.
Weird. Huh. If you could meet any serial killer or a psychopath, famous or non-famous, who would it be? If you could sit down with them similar to this and just chat with them.
I want to talk to Kemper. Edmund Kemper. He's still alive. He's a little...
Edmund Kemper.
Yeah, he had a stroke. He's got health issues. He keeps trying to get out on parole. When you read you can read the transcript of the parole hearing. It's creepy because you could still
Canadian?
No, he's American.
Oh yeah, okay, makes sense.
So he's the co-ed killer. He's like 6'7", 200 some pounds.
Big
his
guy.
wingspan. He's huge.
Big human.
He turned himself in. He called the cops and said, "I murdered all these people," and he was so brave that he'd pick up college women while they were looking for him and still murdering them, hitchhikers. And then he'd go to where the cops were having beers, and he'd go and hang out with them and ask them, so, hey, what's going on with this case? Like, he'd start putting himself in the middle of the case, but he has a high IQ.
You're gonna do that, yeah.
Super high IQ. So not all serial killers, they think they're all intelligent. They're not.
Yeah, most of them probably not.
No, they're not. Edmund Kemper is the weird one because he's very open. He's worked with the FBI to help them understand serial killers. And to him, I think he'd be a little bit more honest because his narcissism, his psychopathy, his goal is to be like the best serial killer, like the informative one. Like, I'm the best. That's I think why he turned himself in. He goes, I want the world to know who I am, and I want to be the best.
Yeah, he's like, I've achieved everything to put me in that first place. Let me just...
I'm working with the FBI to help track down serial killers. Like, he's Hannibal Lecter. Yeah. But, like, to talk to that guy, because he's more of the, oddly enough, the honest one, and he's very... He's very charming, very intelligent. People,
he wouldn't get offline.
They said he feels like a normal guy when you talk to him. He's very charming and interesting. Yeah, they go, not like Manson or, Picton. Those guys, you can't talk to them and they creep you out. But they said Kemper, they're like, it was a nice conversation, is what some people talking to him said. And he's friendly to all the guards and stuff. And so it's really weird. And so I'd love to talk to him. Because I feel like I would get the most honest responses out of all the serial killers.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, someone would be entertaining. I don't care about entertainment. I care about learning. So if I can learn, that's what's most important to me. If I want entertainment, it would have been Picton while he was alive before he was stomped to death in prison.
That's a good point. Whoa. exciting. Do you think you will? Ever? Or you think you just reach out one day on a couple cold emails back and forth and...
I'm going to try.
Yeah.
I'm going to try,
good.
Even with Bernardo.
Yeah.
Because that might be easier because he's in Canada.
Yeah.
But what about you? Who would you want to talk to?
Oh, man. Fucking... I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it's just famous, but definitely fucking Ted Bundy. Bundy for sure. Yeah.
You know he's dead.
Yeah, unfortunately.
He would have been all so fascinating, but he would have definitely not been honest.
He would have lied the entire time.
He's like, I'm innocent.
Yeah.
We have pictures. It's not me. Like,
I think I could have navigated that differently. Like, I think depending on the conversation, like if we could have sat down for an hour, I think how long can somebody, like anybody could lie for 5 minutes, but to really lie for an hour and a half when somebody's just asking, I think over the hour and a half, dude, I think it would be similar to what you mentioned at the beginning of this, was eventually 30 times of lying, you'd pick up on what would be common traits between each conversation or at least each story, and then which I could piece together what actually happened. Maybe, but if not that, then probably it'd be a waste of time. But
yeah,
who knows?
If you want to catch someone lying, ask them to tell the story backwards.
Yeah, it's
People can't construct the story backwards. If it's truth, it's easy. If it's a lie, they fuck up.
They can't go backwards.
Yeah, and then you write down what they said backwards, and then you say, you wait an hour, you ask them to tell it again forwards, and you'll see it doesn't line up. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. There's always one inconsistency at least.
So when people say, probably to your point, like, oh, tell me from the beginning what had happened, you're like, no, tell me from just now. Walk us through what just happened. Back to front, not front to beginning.
Let's say your ex gets home late at night.
Yeah.
She didn't communicate. She lied to you where she was, and then you go, "Where are you coming from?" You're asking them backwards without them realizing. Well, I was over here. I was over here doing this. Okay, and then what about before that? And they don't realize you're asking them to tell backwards, and you're writing this shit down.
Oh, come on.
And then later on, could be the next day or an hour later, you say, "So walk me through last night. I'm just trying to get a picture of it. Like, start from the beginning." When they tell you, and you line them up, they will not line up.
Whoa.
They won't.
Easier that's a better example for sure.
Yeah, because getting it backwards is harder than forwards because it's a lie. It's easier to lie in a linear fashion than
very much so.
Not, yeah, and there's other ways. Like, I know we're not talking about lying today, but I read books on how to spot lying, and I'm really good at it.
What's one thing right away that you think of when people are like spot lying? First thing.
Deflection.
Yeah.
Like if let's say you knew they did something that kind of hurt you, they could say like, well, tell me about that. Like, oh, okay, I can understand why you'd be concerned.
Yeah.
But if they're like right away, they're like angry.
Yeah.
That's what you have to worry about.
Like right away, they're very defensive, I guess.
Yeah. And maybe it's like maybe it's because they're not lying. Like that's just one tell, but it could just be that could be a trigger response because maybe their dad always or their mom always said you're lying, and they aren't. So they could be mad because they automatically think and then triggers them. So it's not that simple. Even lie detector tests aren't that simple. Right. But there are telltale signs. If you stare them in the eye, they don't want to make eye contact. If they're telling you something, if you ask them a question and they say a lie, just stay quiet for 15 seconds.
They get awkward.
They get uncomfortable, and they'll fill in the blanks, and they'll normally add a little bit extra.
And eventually that extra is shit that just doesn't...
Ask broad questions, not direct. If you add broad questions...
No yes or no's.
Like, did you cheat? That's too easy.
Yeah.
Say, did you do it? Was there anything tonight that you think might have been out of the ordinary?
That's a lot of...
uncomfortable, or think that could challenge our relationship? They're more likely to kind of give you something, and then you can follow up with more broad questions related to that until you narrow it in. You just say, did you cheat? They're like, no.
Yeah, it's easier to... Whoa.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I do it all the time with students. They cheat on tests or assignments.
Did you use AI? Shit, I shouldn't have asked it like that.
Yeah.
Did you use any software?
Students are mad at me because I'm really good at it. And I get bad rate my prof reviews saying, then you see them mention AI. He's obsessed with AI. I'm like, maybe you shouldn't have got caught.
Yeah, maybe you're obsessed with it.
He's a hard grader.
I just asked you to be.
Yeah, I give you a 0 if you
cheat the whole thing.
Yeah. That's
weird.
Guess
How dare you, Jordan?
Lack of accountability, ego.
Yeah. Every time somebody mentions ego, dude, I always think back to this speech this guy gave at this commencement ceremony, and he was like, "Ego is the anesthesia that deadens the pain of stupidity." And I was like, yeah.
No, that's
fair.
That's
yeah. It makes stupidity like not feel as bad.
You cannot grow as a human when you put your ego first. You can't become more mature, emotional intelligence out the door. Your relationships, your friendships,
everything. Yeah.
You're gonna go to school or a job. You're gonna fail.
Yeah.
And then you're always gonna blame someone else rather than yourself. And then you're gonna go and find bad coping mechanisms to feed your ego. And it's always impulsive, excessive shopping, like online shopping, alcohol, like excessive alcohol drinking, drugs, like promiscuousness, like you're just.
Whatever it looks like.
Yeah, like so, like there's all these issues, and it's like that's someone who's trying to defend their fragile ego, and really, it's sad because you kind of have compassion, empathy for these individuals, and you're like, I know who you could be.
Right. Oh, for sure.
You can't see who you could be.
Yeah.
And the more you defend your ego, the biggest attack to ego is guilt. So let's say you live a crappy life. When you're 19, there's chance to turn it around. When you're 25, it gets harder. When you're 30, you've done so much bad crap to people where that guilt now, if you acknowledged all the things that you've done to hurt others, it's too much. So there's a point, like you're not born a narcissist, you become one.
Right.
And there's a point of no return.
Oh,
so
I see.
You need to get help before you hit that point of no return, because guess what? Your whole life is going to be a nightmare now. No one's gonna. You're never gonna properly love. You're never gonna take accountability. You're gonna lose people like going through underwear, and you're always gonna blame somebody else. And then you're gonna be 60 and alone. That's really sad.
Very.
And then you're like, well, but at least your ego's intact.
Yeah. At least you feel good about yourself and think.
But they never do, because they always know it's
deep down.
When it comes up, guess what they do? Drugs, alcohol, buying, deflection. But they'll drown it out with drugs and alcohol and impulsive behavior.
Exactly.
Stay away from people who are impulsive. Well, not necessarily stay away, but like address it. See, I notice every time you're sad, you go and get shit bombed till 6 a.m. I don't know. Like,
by yourself, you like annoy people when you're Yeah,
and then you're violent and you're angry too. You're not even happy drunk. Like
it's
it's like. But I notice when you're happy, you don't want to do that. So it's
weird.
Like, pay attention to people's behaviors, because words never reveal who people are. It's always their behaviors. I could sit here all day and say I'm not a narcissist. Yeah. But like statistically, I'm more likely to be the one. Well, no, sorry, not narcissist. Narcissists are lazy, so they won't be professors. But psychopaths, they're attracted to being CEOs, professors, physicians.
Probably psychopath more likely.
Yes, I tell my students that. I say statistically, the person who's likely to be the psychopath in this room is me. And they're like, can we see a copy of your brain scan? I'm like, don't got one yet, but I will.
Soon enough, guys. Just wait.
I will. I actually do plan on getting one, but only just to prove to myself that I'm human.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah,
it's a good move, man.
Yeah.
You, what kind of research are you doing right now?
So I'm doing a study on female psychopathy. So men and women are different as psychopaths.
What?
I know that sounds weird.
Shocking.
So they're both psychopaths, but how you enact. Remember I said how you enact your psychopathy depends on your child rearing. Yep. You're a male. You're raised as a male psychopath. What do your parents normally tell you as a male? Anger's okay. Violence okay. Aggression's okay.
Yeah.
Women.
Don't do that.
What do they do instead?
Do the opposite. Care, love, cry.
Okay, well, like let's say they're teaching to do something.
More
like
emotional stuff.
Imagine a toxic parenting.
Sure.
So if they're telling you toxic stuff like be violent, because they can tell you be caring and loving and stuff. But like, let's say they say like, if you got a problem with someone, punch him in the face.
Hell yeah.
And then if it's a woman and they say you got a problem with somebody, are they gonna say punch him in the face? No, but they're not gonna say do nothing. Right. They might say, well, steal his boyfriend, or
I guess
like manipulate music. I don't know. So there's some, and this isn't just me. Like there's researchers who look at this kind of stuff, and psychopathy was always studied from the perspective of men on like looking at men. So women have been left out. So everything we know about psychopathy is largely has to do with males. But there's two women who are doing really great work looking at female psychopathy and saying they're different. You have to treat them different. They're try to remember they're Verona's one, and the other one is Vitali. So Verona and Vitali are looking at this stuff, and they're trying to say women need their own research. We aren't men. Like, we're not raised like men. We, like, when I say we, I mean, like, the female psychopaths.
Yeah,
not the authors aren't
for
psychopaths,
sure.
but they're like, your child rearing is gendered.
Yeah.
We're getting away from that, but it still exists. And so because of that, they're going to enact their psychopathy differently depending on socialization.
For sure.
So they're like, when you're testing for psychopaths, you're always using male measures. And then they're like, oh, so there's more male psychopaths in the world than women. Well, no, we only have tools to detect the males right now. If they're not in prison, does that mean they're not doing bad things? No, they're manipulating, they're gaslighting, they're bankrupting people, they're taking the kids and using the kids against the partner,
Don't
ex-partner.
get caught as easily, maybe, stuff.
Yeah, they're doing emotional harm. Men are more likely to do physical and emotional, but men will do
punished more.
Women will get emotional harm, but you can't really detect that. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the things that happen to their partners is called reactive abuse. It's a really bad term because it sounds like let's say your partner cheated.
Bad. Yeah.
Your version of reactive abuse, she'll say it's abuse, but it's called reactive abuse, but it's not actually abuse. So let's say she's gaslighting the crap out of you.
Yeah. I overreact.
Or he is.
Yeah.
You go, I'm angry. You're rightfully angry. You start yelling. You might be name calling, maybe not. And you definitely don't want to like start getting physical. But let's just say like you're angry. And you're yelling. And then they focus on your yelling. And then they go, he's abusive. He always yells at me. That's actually reactive abuse, and really in the literature it actually says that that's the terminology that people use.
Kidding.
It should be changed to self-defense.
Ha, come on.
Because they said it's actually not abuse, it's self-defense.
Whoa,
if I
so
punch
when
you that's
yeah.
abuse. If I punch you back because you're still coming at me, that can be seen as reactive abuse, but really it's not. It's self-defense. So the reason why they call it a reactive abuse is because they're saying that your reaction is abuse. But it's not. It's self-defense. So be very careful when someone does something shitty to you, like gaslight you and emotionally harm you. It's like that wife who's being beaten by her husband. One day she just shoots him. And then they get off. They don't go to jail. And they're like, this person's been so emotionally abused for so long that her nervous system, everything finally flooded, and then it was self-defense. She had to.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Like especially if he's like pummeling her and she's like, what am I going to do? Fight back?
Yeah,
punch him back? No, I'm going to grab maybe a bat and hit him on the head.
Yeah, you gotta
accidentally kills him.
it out. Yeah.
Like, it's self-defense. And so I always tell people too, be very leery when someone is, are you responding to something they said, or are you responding to their abuse?
Yeah, and what
because
they've done.
gaslighting is 100% listed on as abuse. So when someone goes, I'm not abusive, well, you lied to me last night. You said you didn't do this. I presented evidence. You said I'm crazy. You said it was my fault. You said I need therapy. That's abuse. They're abusing you.
They're abusing.
Yeah, gaslighting is abuse. And people don't realize that. And then they go, well, you're abusive because you yell. Well, that's because you're gaslighting.
Yeah, which is a form of defense, self-defense versus that.
Because your nervous system is protecting itself.
For sure, yeah.
You get that feeling.
Trust
your gut instinct, especially on narcissists. Your body will tell you before your mind knows. You go, your body's shaking and you feel like sick and sad and depressed.
Uncomfortable around
you're afraid to talk about things. You're like, I'm afraid to ask you a question. I want you to be curious.
Why am I walking on eggshells around you? Yeah. Whoa, dude.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I'm giving data advice. I'm just saying, a lot of this is from my own therapist.
Yeah.
They're like, these are the signs. And I'm reading books on it now because I'm so fascinated, and I go down these dark rabbit holes. But I'm like, the literature always says the same thing. If you're dating someone who's narcissistic, you know they're not narcissists, get out. If someone's gaslighting you, and they're doing it as a pattern. Once is a mistake.
Right.
Doing it multiple times is called a pattern.
Right.
A pattern is something that means that...
that's a habit. That's who you are.
Get the hell out. It's because, let's say you go, I want them to stop. You wanting them to stop doesn't mean they will.
Right.
You have to actually get out. They have to decide for themselves to get therapy. Like, if they just got therapy, I hear my friend say, if she just, or he, whatever, they just got therapy, we'd be happy. If they just.
That's all they have to do. What does that mean?
Like, you can't force them into therapy. They might go.
Sure.
They'll, with you to couples therapy, and then they'll gaslight the therapist, and they'll argue with the therapist, and they'll make you to be the villain.
Oh, they went to therapy.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Even if they go, they have to want to be there, or else they'll just... Because therapy only works if you're honest with the therapist.
Right, and that's if you want to be there, you'll be able to be
I'm here because my partner wants me to be here. And
that's not the same.
But therapists are normally pretty intelligent. They go, and they'll look at the partner and go, you're with a dangerous person, run. So, anyways, Are all psychopaths going to kill you? Absolutely not. Narcissists? No. Is there a lot of them running around? 2% of the population are narcissists, 1% are psychopaths. 10% of the population are dangerously narcissistic, but not narcissists. Although that could also be because our ability to detect them isn't where it should be at. So when we start being better at detecting them, imagine everyone got a brain scan when they're 20. Might reveal a very different story.
Yeah.
Like, how do they know? They're like, don't know. If you don't even know if your partner or your own mother or father are narcissists or psychopaths, how are we as a species supposed to detect them? Especially when we just got this little checklist. Because the problem is, we apply that after they're caught, after they're in prison. We're not using it on the general population.
Oh God, no. Wow. So, Jordan, before we close, I had, I think it was mentioned, you have one last question. And I'm curious, before we close, when you first met me, did you think I was a narcissist in any way? Or, like, what was your initial read? You think, or do you read people like that, or have you met anybody recently? Maybe not me, because like our meet was like just at a bar with like one or two people we all knew, so it's a bit less.
Well, it's harder,
intimate,
right?
But
because I know who you're with.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, and you're with like, I don't have to say his name, but
sure.
You know who you're with, and I'm like, okay, he's a really good guy. So I'm like, you know, you must be an all right guy.
Yeah.
And then, but like also at the bar, people are drinking, right? So you don't know, you're not really getting to know them. You're getting to know drinking them. Maybe you're a little bit more relaxed. Maybe some people get quiet when they drink.
More relaxed.
So like, it's hard to read someone when you meet them out in public at a bar and they're drinking, and like you're not really sure. And me, I'm not one of those people like I show up and I have a genuine interest in people and I want to just get to know them.
Oh, good. You know.
But I also try not to like investigate them though. Unless it's a partner, I have something where I can't turn it off. I'm like, well, and you should get to know them, but you're also looking for red flags and like things that are deal breakers or violations to your values and beliefs.
Sure.
But no, so like, some people go, do you think I'm a narcissist or a psychopath? Do I think you're a narcissist? No. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I don't really know you either.
Yeah.
I'd have to get to know you after spending like more time with somebody. You start seeing patterns. And then, so let's say I ask you questions.
Yeah.
I would get to know you on the belief that you're being honest. So if you're like, I'm a good guy, I'm there for my friends, I'm always showing up, like, oh, he's a good guy, he's always there for his friends. And then your friends are like, he's never fucking around, he's never like, there
so you have
for
to
me.
like interview one person, then interview the friends and the family relationship partners.
See how they treat you. Let's say me and you became good friends, or hanging out all the time.
Yeah.
And then like you would kind of reveal who you'd want to be seen. And then either that's you and you're consistent,
right?
And there's some things that might change, but like it doesn't mean you're a bad
human,
person,
right?
Yeah, and then if like nothing aligns, you're like, oh, there's something wrong.
Yeah, and then that's when you kind of start to raise an eyebrow and
and I'm like,
I guess you did.
There's something wrong. So that's why another piece of, and again, I'm not a relationship therapist.
Sure.
The piece of advice that all the literature that keeps saying is, go slow, take your time. Secure partners who have a secure attachment style, they don't care. They go, you could pick the speed. If the other person's going quick, they don't think anything of it because they're secure. They're like, I know I'm good either way. Like, whatever they want.
Yeah, a bit more adaptable.
They don't overthink and they chill. But that's also like, that's bad because then you can fall into an anxious attachment style because the other person's messing with you. So a narcissist or an avoidant attachment, they'll try and get to you as soon as possible. And they'll throw down and say, I love you and I want to be with you and here's the future. And they make you feel really good. That's kind of, in a way, it might not be a red flag, but it should be something to take concern over and just make sure you space it out. People, their mask will fall off after about 3 months, sometimes 6 months, if they're really talented, a year. Give it time. Yeah. Give them time to fuck up.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to swear?
Dude, it's your episode, man. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, give them time to fuck up. Literally. So if the month goes by, that's very little time to give them an opportunity to see if their behaviors match their worth. So it's always,
it makes sense.
Give them time. Friends, give them time. Like, there's people that you'll be friends with, and then a month later you start not wanting to hang out with them.
I've had friends with like that, yeah.
And there's the other ones you gravitate towards. You're like, wow, this guy's a stand-up dude, right?
Yeah, I'd be like, I want to be around this person more.
Yeah. So you could figure it out.
Yeah, I get you for sure.
Yeah. So relationships should be the same. And you're like,
man.
You're not like, hey, that guy Steve I was hanging out with, he's so cool in the beginning, now he's a dipshit, but I'm going to keep hanging out with him hoping that version comes back.
You probably won't.
Because you're not intimately attached.
Yeah, you don't know that investment.
It's a friendship. Now, your partner is friendship, but it's also intimate.
Right. But
so there's a different investment, right?
For sure.
they're supposed to be a bigger part of your life. It's like us against the world.
Yeah.
And you don't look at your buddy Steve and be like, us against the world, bud. You'd be like, well, that's very romantic. I mean, unless you're romantically interested in Steve, that's different.
In
but
which
I mean, like,
it still applies to the
because then it'll be different. But like, so when it's friends, you don't put your friends up on a pedestal.
Right.
You believe the best in them, but you also are quick to call them out on their crap.
For sure.
A partner, though, it's harder. We're harder because we're in it, and they're part of us now. It's not a friendship at a distance. It's actually like you're together. So give it time, give it space. Write down what your partner says, and make sure that those things don't align. Because when I think back at that, I had some good past relationships. We just went different ways. But the ones that went really poorly, that were wrapped up in narcissism, their actions, like their words in the beginning, I write them down. I don't tell them because I also want to get to know them. I want to remember things. I think that's cute. I write it down. But then I find out that when confronted in a month or 2 months or 3 months with those same questions, everything changes. Would you move away with me if I got a job elsewhere? Absolutely. In fact, I don't even want to be here. I'd go. 2 months later, hey, I'm applying for this job out of town. Well, I'm never leaving this place. Whoa.
But you...
but you said that. Oh, I changed my mind. Did you, or did you
not
believe that? You were just roping me. And then it turns into, well, why don't you stay? Don't you love me? See, it flips back to you again.
Yeah, and then they make their feelings your problem.
Well, you can do your job here. Why would you want to leave? Even though I don't have anything going on for me here.
Yeah.
It's like, why wouldn't you chase your dream?
You can do your job here.
Yeah, you can do your job
Get
here.
bent.
So these are all indications that you've been being lied to, that the person said things that you wanted to hear, and then you have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Am I okay with this? Now that I know this new person, if I met them just this month, think about a month that was really bad. If this was the first month of a relationship, would I stick it out? The answer's normally like, no.
Yeah, hell no.
So why should you? It's a sunken cost fallacy. Why put so much time into it?
Sunken cost fallacy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a saying for like anything. Job, relationship. You go, well, I'm not leaving my job because I've already been here 20 years. But you hate it. Yeah. But I put 20 years in. I could get that promotion any day now.
Yeah, it's like you won't, but...
No, you just go be happy.
Yeah, just
well, I've been with him for like 5-10 years.
Yeah.
So?
Yeah, if your boss is just a bit more of a dick tomorrow, you'll quit. It's like, well, probably not.
No, probably not. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, sometimes a relationship or job could be good at the beginning. Then you get a new boss.
Damn
and
right.
then it goes to crap. You're with a partner and they're really good for 2 years. Something bad happens in their life, or they just change. You grow differently.
Yeah.
You go different ways. That's okay. But then, you go, well, I'm going to still stick it out and give up. Well, they're going left because they're like, you know what? I want to become vegan now. Yeah. I want to give up partying and drinking.
What is that?
Vegan? And then you're like, but I want to be me. Instead, you cave and you go, well, I'm also going to be vegan.
Yeah. What is that?
Yeah.
By the way,
like just vegetables.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
It's all veggies.
What is vegan?
Yeah, being a vegan, or whatever. Like I'm into, like whatever it is. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm like just saying, if you're on the same page, you're all eating cheeseburgers and like you go to concerts and
having a good time.
You like the same music. Then they start doing different things. They're like, well, now I like country, and now I like veganism, and I'm an environmentalist, and I want to go chain myself to a tree. There's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
But you have to decide. Can we still work together?
Yeah.
What some people do is they realize that's not going to work, and then the brave ones actually leave and say, hey, I wish you the best, I love you, I want you to have that life. Have at her. We're just different now. Some people, though, sadly, they actually go,
come on,
they go, well, I like country too now, and no,
they completely change their identity based on what
they're following an identity,
which is ridiculous.
You're supposed to grow together or you grow apart. You don't grow behind them, you grow alongside them. And then but narcissists, sadly, like, and bad relationships happen, and and eventually grow behind them. And it's not even growing at this point. It's actually the opposite. They're falling. They're not growing. They're getting more narcissistic. They're getting more vindictive. They're getting more egotistical. Yeah. And you just put up with it. Because you're lonely and you go, I'd rather be alone I'd rather be with someone and abused than be alone.
It's easier.
And safe.
For sure, yeah. It's probably easier than to, like, confront them and take the way out.
Yeah. And then the last quick thing I'll say is...
Yeah, leave us on something.
Here's the leave. Everyone, whether you like it or not, at some point in your life, and hopefully you grow out of this, you're attracted to familiar, not safety. If your parents were abusive and they were neglectful or they were hot and cold, guess what you chase? if you're a male, you probably chase your mother. That sounds weird. And if you're a woman, then you typically chase your dad. So if your dad was cold and avoidant, guess what you go after? Cold and avoidant. And if your mom's like, so these things don't confuse a relationship when it's like, you have to ask yourself and be honest, is this safe or familiar? Because familiarity feels safe even when it's not.
Right.
So it's like, well, I grew up with neglected and hot and cold and abused. So if you find a partner like that, your brain goes, well, this was your childhood. This is normal.
Yeah.
People go, everyone looks for someone like their mom or dad. I'm like, Freud wasn't completely wrong.
Right.
But it's like, but maybe your mom and dad sucked.
Yeah, it does happen.
Like maybe they weren't the best role models. Maybe they weren't the care or the compassion that you needed. Maybe they didn't validate your feelings. Maybe they didn't promote you and say, hey, you can do anything, you're awesome, like we're there for you. Maybe they go, your ideas suck. And then so you chase people who do the same thing because you're secretly trying to validate your parents' feelings towards you through somebody else. So anyways, be careful out there is what I'm saying. Be careful. It's a dangerous world, but there are good people. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I've met a lot of great people. I'll start doing the Donald Trump thing. There's a lot of great people. Really great. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, that was a bad impression.
It was all right.
Yeah, just the hands.
Do you find if you... No, I can't quite find it. I fucking...
Probably had it the other day.
Yeah, we always have it the other day, but I found if I do the hands, or it depends on like the vibe I'm in, you know. I've been drinking a bit today, so I'm like not quite there yet, but you know, we'll get there.
Damages the vocal cords now. You can't.
It does a little. I'm like, why does it feel? Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what. Yeah, I used to think I could do a Barack Obama, and then where he just speaks in short paragraphs. And,
hello, my fellow Americans.
No, that's good. That's way better, dude. I wish you couldn't do one. No, I'm embarrassed, dude. Jeez. Where can people reach out? Where can people connect with you? Where can people see what you're doing?
Yeah. So you can
learn from you, I guess.
Sounds weird. Google my name. No, if you go to the Laurentian website under Criminology, or on the faculty list, you can find me. I have a profile.
Nice.
You can see my email there. Email me with any questions about anything, about this podcast, about criminology, about life. If you're interested, come to the university. Happy to help. If you are going through any type of difficult times and stuff, there are resources out there. So please reach out. If you're not sure where they are, I don't want to say necessarily I'm a great contact for that, but like if you do reach out and you say you're having a hard time, I could probably point you in the right direction of professional help. There's a lot of resources out there. Please don't be afraid to use them.
That's it.
That's it.
I love it. Dude, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Good. I'm glad. It's, so